first player in the bottom left, representing the Spotify Rebellions, the Rebels. He is the blue Zerg player from Germany. One of the favorites in the group. It is Lambo.
Shopify did such an amazing job sponsoring all these events, picking up the players, and then they named their team the Rebellion instead of just the Rebels.
Yeah.
And their Twitter tag is Shopify Rebels. And I talked to TLO at a tournament a while ago, and he's like, "Yeah, we messed up there. Definitely should have been Rebellion because nobody knows." You following my camera for today, Grant? Since you're doing production.
Yeah, I can do for now. We can take turns. I just have to fix something.
Right. Whatever you want to do, buddy.
Hey,
Top right hand side in the pink, representing Team Alpha X, he is Kim Yujin, ArT.
What a name.
He's not actually Kim Yujin. That's just his screen name to terrify fellow EU players.
Stats his name, right?
What?
Is that Stats his real name? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Stats. No, Stats is Kim Dae-yub.
It's SOS then.
I think so. I'm not sure.
I know it's Stats or SOS. They're both Kim. That's why I don't know.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, Grant, statistically, something like 50% of Korean people's last name is Kim.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
Korea has the least last name distribution of any country. It's like 5 last names make up something like 80 or 90% of all the last names in Korea.
Damn, that's wild.
It's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Okay,
they're all named after. They're all named after like lineages of kings. So back in the day when you got married, you'd want to have like Kim was like an exciting last name because there was an old king named Kim or something.
Dude, let's just talk about history.
So one of my favorite history facts, Grant, is that Thomas Jefferson was actually a fantastic rapper and appeared on Broadway on several occasions and did a few. No, I mean, I saw Hamilton a while ago and I learned that Thomas Jefferson looks exactly like Daveed Diggs, is a fabulous rapper.
No one tell Creighton that it's not a documentary. As we see these two lings pop them out, they're going to just get some work done on this probe. Artist just trying to scout to make sure there is no very quick third. It does look like he will lose the probe as we do have those two lings. Getting a bit of a wraparound. He is going the long way home, but gets down there, chewed to death. Stargate coming down here from ArT. Very, very standard opening. 1 gate Stargate, no full wall just yet. Getting that Adept to get some scouting information. That is the second Adept, as the first one has now entered the natural here of Lambo to be pushed away. Lambo is going to hold down that D key. He's either going to stop at like sort of 29, make a bunch of roaches and kill him, knowing that there's ping, or he is going to play for a macro game. And we're seeing something a little bit fun to start things off here from ArT.
He's got that Void Ray out first. You know, this is always interesting because nowadays Void Ray first is not necessarily the all-in cheese bullshit build that everybody says it is. Honestly, Void Ray first is just a good solid opener, clears out the map a little bit. Well, as you can see, ArT will take out this Overlord, Lambo gets the scout down, but we'll see what comes out second. If it's a second Void Ray, then we can start to get excited. If it's an Oracle, as it is just probably going to be Void Ray into Oracle, into something else. And obviously, ArT has a lot of options right now. He can go second Stargate and start cranking out Oracles. My guess, though, is ArT's going to play a little bit more standard, probably go for a Twilight Council, Robo, something like that.
Yeah, I think the Void Ray is the safest option to be able to secure a third base. The Oracle coming in late doesn't necessarily find damage, but again, it's a great defensive unit if there is a good bunch of lings. And Lambo's not the kind of player to miss out on spores. With a couple of Adepts here, we should see that third going down very shortly. This Oracle is actually going to fly directly over these lings. Very frustrating here for our just player to have that immediately scouted, but he does get his Nexus down, and one ling is going to scout this, but it's not going to be enough to punish it. It does look like this should be relatively safe to defend with that one Adept, and everything looking good for ArT here as he moves up to his macro game. Lambo, though, as you can see, 8 drones in production, hasn't lost a single worker. I believe he lost an Overlord as expected. There's that Roach Warren, and just going to move up into a mid game with a whole bunch of miners. That's a big pickup.
Yeah, this is really great for Lambo. ArT's grabbing that third base, and Lambo's like, no, go ahead, take your third base. I dare you. I'm going to make 37,000 more drones. Clearly, Lambo not going to stop at like that 47 drone count that sometimes you see if you're going for the late Roach all-in. He's just going up to Lair, got his Roach Warren on the way, and with plenty of gases taken, it looks like we're going to see speed Roaches out of Lambo. Still entirely possible that he walks his Queens across the map or goes for some sort of drop play. Less likely, though, I think. Knowing Lambo, he's going to play this one out. He knows he's got a ping advantage. He knows he's probably the favored player, and he knows that ArT is a little bit behind, opening up a Stargate before going in to his Twilight Council, Forge, and Robo. No Robo yet. Yeah, Robo, sorry. Robo, Twilight Council, and Forge.
Yeah, and ArT did actually make that second Oracle as well, so it's a pretty big committal. You're never going to find damage, or at this stage in the game, with one Oracle. You want to be going in with two and looking to one-shot those drones. Instead, he is going to use that one Oracle, most likely defensively with stasis wards and things like that. He does have it down at the south side right now, dropping a stasis ward in the natural of Lambo. See if it found anything. Not in the third. Anything in the natural, Mr. Creighton? Yes, it's a big pickup. There we go. So that's good for ArT. That pretty much catches up. But take a look at the march.
Yeah, it's happening, Grant. I was sorry, I was a little distracted shit posting in chat there for a minute. I didn't know you were following my camera this whole game. 4, 5, 6, 7 queens on the map with a couple of Ravagers, Roaches behind this and a few Lings as well. And look at the production tab. That tells the whole story. Not only is Lambo powering up for a big push, I don't know if ArT necessarily knows this is coming. Oh yeah, he does. Never mind. Shield Battery's on the way here at the third. He's got this ready to go. I wasn't sure if he'd spotted it or not, but he definitely has. I love that Lambo's working down these rocks, giving him 2 additional ways to attack this this third base.
Yeah, what ArT needs is time, because one Immortal is not enough to deal with this. Look at the DPS in the army right now, or the lack thereof. If he can trap some of this army off, it would be nice. That Void Ray went down immediately, though, Creighton. That's so much damage lost. Sentries just do not offer DPS. And the Bile catching the Immortal, it loses hit points, which is a big, big loss. The Queen's not even falling just yet. And the Ravagers up at the north side doing so much DPS. There's just nothing here for ArT. Army supply 72 to 31, and just like that, our Proto player from Poland does look like he will be falling over. I just cannot see any way he breaks this now. The Oracle's going to come back, immediately die, and that will most likely be all she wrote, even with all of these shield batteries.
Yeah, I think so. If you've been watching this battle on the south flank, it looks okay because it's queens versus 5 shield batteries and an overcharge. You're like, wow, he's clearing out a lot of these queens. That's great. Lambo very happy to trade away those queens. Wow, gets an immortal just as it pops out as well. There's basically 1 immortal and 3 sentries left versus the entire army of Lambo. And behind this, Lambo is powering back up. More Roaches, more Ravagers, more queens, and ArT knows it. Double G, Grant, and Lambo, to no one's surprise, going to grab a pretty clean game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, what could be said? That was as clean as it goes. Lambo certainly very, very good at the old Berlin bus with the queens across the middle of the map. It's got like 900 different names at this point, so I'm just going to try and come up with a different German city and transport vehicle every game. I've already run out of them though, so this is going to be difficult. Yeah, clean win there. It was a rough start, definitely, for ArT. He loses that early Oracle. The second one gets a decent stasis ward, but at that point, the damage or lack thereof had been done, and Lambo had already built everything he needed. He had 8, 9 queens, he had 8, 9 Ravagers, and he just stormed across the map and ran all over him. And yeah, as you said, it looked good on the south side, but that wasn't even the army, that was the queens. And they took a long time to go down, let alone the Ravagers. A great start for Lambo here, who's already doing pretty well in this tournament, if I am correct. Take a look at the bracket. I believe he is, in fact, 1020, so he's now up to 1030, looking to go for that 40 and be alongside Raynor, Serral, Hero Marine, Elazer, and Max Pax is the only players not to drop a map.
Wow, look at Max Pax. That a boy, Max Pax. How exciting! I'm loving that B group. Hero Marine, Max Pax, Skillis, Braddock, Showtime, Stefano, Geralt, and Milky Cow. What a terrifying group. But of course, that'll be later today. We'll have, I think, 1 game from Group B
2
at the end of our cast today.
Yeah, we go DAAB. Dab.
Beautiful.
That's how I remember it.
Thanks, Grant. That's very handy. A nice little mnemonic for anyone back home who's paying attention. The best thing is that we're in Group D right now. And as you said, Group D, a fabulous group. Serral, Hellraiser, Lambo, Soul, Hearthstone, Mana, ArT, and Sort of.
Very cool group. Protoss heavy group, definitely, but of course you've got Serral and Lambo, who are very confident in that matchup, and looking very strong so far. Lambo, I think, since joining Spotify Rebellion, becoming one of the rebels, I think his gameplay is just lifted. He's found that motivation maybe that he needed, getting the support that he needed now, being alongside such incredible players like Bjorn and Scarlet. And TLO, of course, as well as the manager, a legend in his own right. And it's just climbing and climbing. I'm excited to see how well he can do. I'd love to see him make like a semis, you know, just a proper deep run to take a series off of Clem or Serral or Raynor and cement himself as one of those, you know, top 3 European Zerg players. Very tricky. But he's on the right track. And all he needs to do now is take this next map versus ArT. And we're going into Blackburn, Creighton.
We are, and Blackburn, interesting that it slipped through the cracks here. Not often you see this map. Of course, no People think this is a Terran-favored map. It's still very early in the map's career, so I don't know if we can make that judgment just yet. But with no Terrans on the field, Protoss and Zerg players are finding more and more ways to abuse this map, which, as you know, Grant, one of my favorite things in all of StarCraft 2 is watching these maps evolve over time. Blackburn started as sort of a very common, okay, we're just going to use this bottom canal and attack each other through the main area. And in the last 2 or 3 weeks, Grant, we have seen players utilizing the top sides of the map, hiding bases, proxy tech, attack paths in multiple locations, finding all the angles. It's going to be a great game. Let's hop on in and check out ArT versus Lambo on Blackburn LE.
And our first player, Craden Olsen, in the bottom left, representing Spotify Rebellion with that slick-ass logo. He is the blue Zerg player from Germany, up 1-0 in the series. It is Lambo. Some good camera spinning.
Yeah, man. I will say, the Shopify Rebellion logo is
so
good. One of the most important things, for those of you who've never taken collegiate classes in logo design like I have, one of the most important things about a logo is that like a 4-year-old should be able to recreate the logo from memory. It should be really easy to make. So if you see teams that, like, the Team Liquid logo is good, but it's a little too complex for a corporate logo. The Shopify Rebellion logo, simple, clean, easy to do, and I love that it's got the 3 bars, one for each of their founding players. In the bottom right-hand side,
Genius.
in the red, representing Poland, currently playing from Seoul, South Korea, representing Alpha X. It's our red Protoss player, ArT.
Okay, great. And let's talk about what ArT needs to do to bring this back. So far, opening very, very standard. I did think on Blackburn, maybe there was the opportunity, if this was ArT's map pick and I wasn't privy to the veto process, that he was going to do something very funky. There is some cannon and stuff on this map. I don't think ArT's that kind of player. I know ArT, and I said this to you earlier, as someone who likes a glaive adept every now and then. And I don't think this is a bad map for that either. Between the third, the natural, and the main, when they're all in this straight line formation, or the other third is very distant, adepts get around very easily. If there's a lot of distance between the main and the natural, the natural and the third, and then the main as well, adepts can punish that because queens move slowly, lings off creeper very, very slow, and creep isn't spread by the time it hits. But we have a very early stalker actually coming out here from ArT, which is already slightly unusual. It does have this probe making sure that the third is going down at a standard time, and again, 2 lings, this time not going to catch the early probe. That's already a better start here for ArT, who completely throws sand in my eyes and goes for a Stargate.
I was really hoping for a glaive adept too, Grant, and I think you can tell, pardon me, sorry. I think you can tell just how hungry I am because you said, I love a good glaive adept opener, and I heard you say, I love a good glaive, and I thought you were going to say glazed donut because that's, that's how long I have it. I literally had donuts yesterday, and I'm still like, you know what I could go for right now? Some freaking donuts. Like, that'd be great. There's this donut shop near me, Grant, called Donutology. Shout out to Kansas City, Missouri's Donutology, where you can custom make your own donuts.
Oh, damn.
So you go in and you're like, yeah, give me a cake donut, chocolate glaze, sprinkles on one half, and chocolate crumbs on the other, or whatever. Like,
oh, stop.
It's phenomenal. I'm sorry. I know you're on a diet. I need to go back on my diet as well. But how good are donuts? Oracle first this game, though, for ArT instead of the Void Ray first. That's a bit of an interesting choice.
Yeah, and again, here on Blackburn, going Stargate generally is very, very good. We do see Lambo opting to go for that sort of very EU Zerg Overlord speed, nice and early, so we can get in, get a lot of information here, and he does see that it is a Stargate once again. The Oracle now most likely has been at least figured out. We should see spores already going down, and we do. Queen count is getting high. Only building 1 at a time right now, making me think that it's most likely not going to be that Queen march across the map. The Munich metro. That one wasn't bad.
No, that worked. Yeah, that worked.
Lots and lots of drones coming out. He is now starting to add more and more queens. We'll see when that roach roaring goes down. I do think Lambo, knowing how this game is going, knowing that he has a massive ping advantage, he's definitely never going to be afraid to just march across the map. It's a build he's doing a lot of. It's a build that has a very good win rate. I never see this build lose. Oracle's going to come in, see if they can find some damage, because ArT certainly he could do with finding some. It's not a great dive just yet. Robo coming down earlier here for ArT than it did in the last game, alongside that Twilight Council, and it's going to be much of the same here. I'm very concerned that Lambo's doing the exact same thing. He's now up to 5 queens. He's getting a 6th. If he goes up to 7 or 8, then it's looking very, very likely. Does seem to stop just for now.
The bad news is that not only is Lambo doing the same thing here, ArT is doing the same thing on the other side, Grant. He's trying to crank out, I imagine, the Immortal from his Robo, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a Robo yet.
He does.
Would War Prism first? No way. Surely he goes Immortal. He's going to need the help. Oh, he is going Observer first. Oh my gosh, Grant. Wow. I don't know if he's seen this potential pressure coming at all. His Oracles don't seem to have seen more than a few Queens in the Roach Warren. I don't know if it's been spotted yet from ArT. I'm really concerned right now that ArT maybe not prepped for a good timing push from Lambo here. Yeah, he has not seen that Roach Warren yet. So this could be bad news bears for ArT. He's going for Blink. He's almost certainly going for a second Observer and then a War Prism. I'm very concerned.
And take a look at the middle of the map, as you do right now, Creighton. Here comes that spread. We do have the highway being created. The auto button here for Queens, and they're going to start moving with a bunch of lings. 19 roaches have been produced in the last couple of minutes. Sorry, 18 roaches. And a few of those will, of course, Ravager up as they jump into their cocoons. We do have Oracles once again dropping Stasis Swords. And sure, they're finding their mark, but this isn't Lambo's focus right now. Lambo can lose drones because at the other side, what is there going to be? The exact same as last game. And it didn't work last game. And I'm very, very concerned that the defense isn't going to work here again. We're looking at 0 Immortals. One will pop just in time. Oh my god, that's a big transfer that is going to be saved. Actually, I don't hate this from ArT. He is going to put all of his probes into his natural, so he doesn't lose them at least. And he's going to turtle in his natural, get a couple more Immortals, try and hold there. And this could work. This has potential.
Yeah, so slightly different decisions from ArT this time. He didn't see this coming, so he didn't have time to get shield batteries down to this third. So he just decided to seed that third base down and turtle up in his natural. I think that's probably the right call, given the fact that he's so far behind. But Grant, that doesn't change the fact that he's so far behind. Like, we're like, oh, he's got a good chance of holding this. But he's already lost his third base for free, and these Immortals are way too far forward. And, oh, God, only 2 shield batteries here at the natural. There's a Stasis Ward that he might get lucky with, but I don't know if there's enough Daft Punk in the world for ArT to get lucky with that Stasis Ward.
That was good. I like that one. Now, this Observer is doing a lot of work here. We can see that there's a Robotics Bay coming out, but Lambo is going to do what I hoped he would do in this position. As a Lambo fan, he's just going to take a 4th. He's not going to just overly commit. You can see he's teching. Going to move most likely into Lurkers here after the Hydras. ArT's finding some okay damage, and his work account is by not any means too far behind. He's up in upgrades. If he can take a very good fight, I mean, I still don't love the position for him, but there's an opportunity. The gold base, though, is very, very scary. If this isn't identified early, then the amount of roaches and lings that can be produced here from Lambo, it can't be understated. It can't be oversold, because it's going to be very difficult for ArT to trade efficiently against someone who just has that extra income from those high yield mineral patches.
Yeah, absolutely. The fourth base going to pay off in spades for Lambo. And like we said earlier, he's lost a lot of drones this game. I don't know if you pull up the units lost tab, but 11 drones have gone down, which isn't great. But it doesn't matter because ArT's on 2 bases. He's going to be mined out of his main soon. I'm so concerned. The Stasis Ward is going to run on the high ground. He does have the first Disruptor coming. 1 Disruptor can be very helpful, Grant, but as you know, you need 2 or 3 to really zone out your opponent and force him into a bad position. This fight is so tough because ArT's going to be walking down his ramp into a concave if he wants to break this, and that's just terrifying.
Yeah, Zealot charge isn't done yet, and those Zealots were very, very necessary for breaking something like this, because they break the concave down. They force it to move backwards and to kite a little bit. Now with the Disruptor, we should see a bit more of a committal here to pushing back his opponent. A blink forward to get an Overlord, and a couple of units don't walk into it. Okay, there we go. ArT now needs to focus on getting his third down. He needs to destroy this creep that Lambo has set up, and he needs to macro his way out of this. His army composition is good. He now has charge close to completing. As we said, is +2, very ahead of his opponents, and he hasn't lost a lot of army. He did produce an okay amount of probes, but he really needs to get back on that ASAP so he can immediately transfer and have his third fully saturated. We can see he's getting a few more gateways. He's going to continue to drop Stasis Wards with the Oracle up at the third base of Lambo. Did that get anything, Creighton?
No, not really.
No,
a couple of drones here.
Yeah,
just 5.
It's not bad. Of course, anything right now is good for ArT. If he can get maxed with this army, he's getting a prism. Maybe that finds some damage. There's no lurkers yet. In fact, lurker den is only about 25% of the way done. And now a zealot charge done. Hydras and things will melt. I'm not saying that the ArT's in a great position, but I'm not saying it's over.
Interesting choice from Lambo not to drop that lurker den very early, Grant. He's actually just about halfway done now. He's had Hydras out for ages, but did not drop his lurker den in time. I don't know if that's a misstep or if he was just focusing on maybe re-droning, but not going to have lurkers for this fight, which means that ArT's going to have a much better mobility and a more opportunity to jump on top of this army with some blink stalkers. And one more thing Lambo's not doing is he has not broken down these rocks in the middle of the map. We see so many third players these days prioritizing those rocks, and yeah, he cannot flank at all. Luckily, he's going to snipe one of the disruptors, and the second one going to go down as well just before the disruptor shot goes off. Great initial fight here for Lambo.
And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the ping disadvantage. When you're playing with 250 ping, it's very difficult to micro your disruptors to your best of your ability. ArT is a very, very good player. He qualified for this event with 250 ping. Now we see the blending clouds coming down as well. Very difficult. Oh, the double immortal yoink. They get stuck. Dancing and move command. No DPS fired. Again, the stalkers are trading kind of well, but my concern for ArT right now is he doesn't have any high-tech units left. This is stalkers with good upgrades against soon-to-be lurkers. There's no disruptors. He doesn't have Archons. He doesn't have Storm. He doesn't have any of those high-tech units, and the Vipers in the air are just going to make this so difficult because blinding clouds are a hell of an ability against stalkers.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that earlier, the Blinding Clouds forcing the Stalkers back, which then allowed the Vipers to yoink the Immortals into, I don't know if you noticed that, Grant, right next to their own force fields, trapping them against their own force fields and allowing perfect surface area. And now it is just pure gateway units for ArT versus a pretty terrifying army here from Lambo. Now, the army supply looks like it's in Lambo's favor quite a bit, but if you actually pull up the army value tab with the A button, you'll see that ArT's army value is quite high. This huge number of Stalkers really helping to bulk up that army value. Behind this, though, third base for ArT can't be built because there's creep there, and he can't afford to move his observer back because I believe he only has the one observer, the 0 observers in this game, so he can't clear creep at all. This is just bad news, Bears. The clock is ticking, and much like Clarice in Silence of the Lambs, ArT needs to act fast.
That was a good one as well. Yeah, I mean, 2 bases at this point is devastating. We do have a big Lambo counterattack at the other side, making sure nothing goes on. These roaches finding so much damage, and this is forcing ArT into that scenario no Protoss wants to be in. 12 minutes into the game, 2 bases all the way, all in. If he cannot break Lambo with this push, ArT is SOL, shed out of luck. And I mean, as lurkers join the fray, as the disruptors get yoinked in, this is just becoming impossibly difficult for the young Polish Protoss player who played a valiant game, a valiant fight to even get back into the position, but now go. We see the blinding clouds coming in. The lurkers dishing out so much damage. These stalkers unable to fire or find any damage inside those clouds. And I mean, despite everything, with the limited amount of lurkers, this wasn't an awful fight. Look at the supply. Creighton, Olsen, Todd. This is not going to go the way of AlphaX's ArT.
No, definitely not. Even if he takes a good fight here on the far side of the map, Lambo's got so much money in the bank, he can just remax on 7 gajillion lings if he wanted to. But he won't have to. GG.